No, I think you need to keep that going.
No, no. Oh, good. It came up right after I stopped dancing. Okay, so we should be good now.
Yeah.
Let me just hear so we can hear. Ah, I hear myself. God, what a beautiful sound. Cool.
Hooray.
All right, so Star Wars podcast, me, Chris, fancy shirt. What else did I say?
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back. Back again. Podcast back. Text a friend.
We're gonna change our theme song.
That's all. That's all I got right now, and I still don't think there's anyone back watching the stream. So,
Masked Fox 007.
that's me. Ah, yeah, yeah, our super fan. Cool, cool. Let me just send that link out one more time.
Send that link out one more time.
Send that link out one more time. All right, so we have Yay on Ken.
Turns out with streaming, you have one shot. When you go live, you have one shot. When you record, you can edit. God.
Yes, yes. Look, you only got one shot, one opportunity to do a good stream. I've been very alone, Chris. This has been a long time in solitude.
Hey, Al, it's fine, man. We're here.
Gosh, that's a beautiful shirt you're wearing.
Thank you. I mean, we were socially distancing, but now we can socially distance, but electronically we can be together, through the internet.
It's like, this period has really made me feel like the movie Her isn't all that bad of an idea. Falling in love with an operating system. I'm pretty sure we saw that together, didn't we? Like many years ago.
I really like that movie. Yeah, I think we both had a little indie movie phase before. I think that was before the MCU happened, and then no need to go to. I don't know what happened, but I didn't see any indie movies for like 10 years.
I still, I was gonna say I'm not in a phase. I still don't watch the MCU or anything like that. So,
I realized that I got into a phase. You know what I mean? Like I just stopped watching like really cool, interesting movies.
So what you're saying is you're just not as cool as I am.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that I was with you in the beginning, but then I just got so tired of interesting and cool, I had to move on to other interesting and cool things.
And then you bought that shirt.
And then I bought this shirt.
All right, so
that sums it up.
As I said before, before everything went haywire, we're doing 2 Duel of the Fates episodes tonight. Chris and I are going to argue 2 topics. We're going to record them back to back. Podcast magic. You guys are seeing how it goes. They will be released over the next few weeks. But welcome to another episode of Duel of the Fates. And I am Alex Lowe here to have a little argument with producer Chris.
I love arguing.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Well, why the heck did I join a podcast then? Just to agree with everything you say?
He does love arguing. Yep. So, we are going to talk about a topic that I've heard brought up many times, and I've kind of flip-flopped over the years. But in my advanced age, I have come up with a pretty firm position on, and that topic is, should there be an R-rated Star Wars movie?
The answer is yes.
What was that groan or that moan for?
It's how I think and ponder an interesting question.
Well, that shows why you want an R-rated movie, so you can just groan and moan as much as you want.
Once you've hit 5 groans, that goes from PG-13 to R.
It's the one F-bomb.
And that counts for this podcast too. That counts for this podcast. Oh, we have one. We're still fine. We're well within PG range. Oh no, we're getting closer.
That wasn't a groan. That was a approving purr.
Well, we can't be. We're not. Once we get audited, they're going to be the ones to tell us. But anyways, that's why we just want to be careful. But anyhow, I am on the yes side. You're on the no side. Clearly, I mean, you're Aloe. You cite the Bible on every single episode of this podcast.
Have you? Wait. Have you read the Old Testament? because you want to talk about R-rated. A lot of the stuff going on in there is definitely not PG-13.
That's a good point. But the Bible likes to have its cake and eat it too.
I don't remember that verse about cake.
Uh, you clearly haven't read the Bible very well, Al.
Uh, so back to discussing why there should not be a R-rated Star Wars movie, because there clearly shouldn't. Chris, what possibly could be gained by throwing in a few F-bombs in a Star Wars movie?
Well, I honestly think that you can open up Star Wars a little bit. I think you can explore some interesting territory, and I my main argument is that Star Wars should not be held to any hard and fast rule about what it can and cannot be in terms of content, like or what you can or cannot do. So, as an example, before we got the Solo movie, everyone was talking about no, you can't do a Yoda movie. No, you can't do a Solo movie. These are things that you shouldn't do. I think there's a difference between no, you can't, and hey, maybe this is going to be hard to execute or tackle, but I'm willing to see it. If you can do it, I want to see it. Like if it's going to be good, I still want to see it. That being said, I do agree a little bit with the idea that if you're going to go down these different territories, you got to be careful, and you're going to have a great product still. But I don't want us to say that Star Wars just inherently cannot go into that R-rated territory.
Well, I think Star Wars is meant to appeal to everyone. And I know all of my friends that have kids, their youngins are fans of the Star Wars. And they've been watching Star Wars for years and years. And I don't want to put it in a situation where there's content that these parents have to be worried about taking their kids to. And my main argument against it is I don't see any situation where it's necessary. Like, give me one potential plot you want to see in an R-rated Star Wars movie.
I would like to see them explore the drug cartels.
Can be done in PG-13.
You probably, but maybe not.
Did you ever see Daredevil? There's a ton of drug smuggling in that, and that was PG-13.
True. So I guess you're correct. I don't think that just because but then again, drug use is one of the highest. I think it's a very common reason why a movie can get that kind of rating. So if you're gonna show a movie about drug cartels, but you're not gonna show any actual drug use, I don't think that movie's gonna make PG-13. I mean, I don't think you could really have that movie. Like, could you have Narcos, a really great show about the Mexican and Colombian drug cartels without seeing actually anyone on screen partake on the drug?
Well, yeah, you could. You definitely could. I mean, I haven't seen Narcos, so I don't know how that show would have gone. But I just watched Three Frontier. What is the movie? Oscar Isaac, Charlie Hunnam, Ben Affleck. Triple Frontier. Frontier. There's a drug cartel in that, and you never see anyone doing drugs.
But you're not exploring the drug cartels. You're exploring isn't that movie more about the guys that are going in
and taking down
them? Which in the case of Narcos, that show is showing it both sides of it. It's showing the both perspective, and it gives the viewer the gray area. Same with The Wire. I mean, what would The Wire be if that series wasn't? I mean, I know it's not like it wasn't a movie, but if it was a movie, it would be rated R.
What would The Wire be if they toned it back a little bit? It would be more friendly for kids.
And no one wanted that. No HBO subscriber is no. I'm not going to say no HBO subscriber, but I would say like look at the content that's on that platform.
I also, before we get too far away, I used Daredevil as an example of a quality PG-13 movie, and you just went right past it.
I
was teeing you up.
I could have had you on the ropes, but I was merciful. I'll say that.
I've also now referenced 2 Ben Affleck movies in one 25-minute podcast. So we'll try and keep it to 2, because once you get to 5 Ben Affleck references, you get an R rating for our podcast.
Very true.
So, Good Will Hunting, another example of an R-rated movie that if they just toned back the language, could have been PG-13.
Okay. But I think that people like that. I mean, I don't think the swear words is where I'm gonna stake my claim. You know, like I'm not gonna be like I have to have the swear words. I'm not gonna. That's not really my argument. That's not my
You're
primary
fine
argument.
with Nerf herders.
Yeah, I'm okay with that for the most part. But I think I want to go back to the other point that you made, which I think is a good point, but I will counter it. That Star Wars is for everyone. I agree. I think Star Wars is for everyone. But I think that if you would say that every single property and every media that Lucasfilm Disney has put out, if you were telling me that that was made for specifically a crowd, I would say that most of the time they were doing it for children and not for adults. The movies are for everyone. Like they're most, I would argue a little bit differently with Rogue One. I don't really think Rogue One is a very kid. I don't think it's a kid friendly movie, but I think you could take your kid to see it and they'd be fine. It's not like it's anything super crazy, but
I
there's
took a kid to see it.
yeah. Well, good. I mean that's great. I think you're doing
I don't have any kids. I just
okay.
found
That's
one who wanted to go.
That's
But
now I don't know if it's great, but now I'm a little worried. But
eh,
I'm just gonna say that I think they've made more properties specifically for children than they have made it specifically for adults. And so
yeah.
we're saying this is for everyone, but like the show Star Wars Resistance, like I haven't heard anyone say anything good about it, to be honest. And I know it's for
But
kids.
that's not because of the rating or who they targeted it to. That's because it's not that good.
It could be that it's not that good, but you know it was children first.
It's the difference between like the Air Bud volleyball movie, which is made for children and is not good, and Space Jam, which is also made for children, but I watched 2 weeks ago and it totally holds up.
Sure, but then you could
It doesn't feel
also
like a kid's movie at all.
okay, but look at like The Matrix. You know that that was an adult movie, but at the same time, you saw it. You were not. I know we're compared to Nick, we're like practically babies. But you know, when The Matrix came out, we were pretty young. We weren't old enough to be watching our rated movies, but we both. I'm sure we both found a way to see it, right?
Do you remember what the first R-rated movie you saw was?
I don't know. Do you?
The Patriot. The Patriot. And I
Wow.
remember seeing that guy's head get blown off, and I was like, I'm not ready to watch R-rated movies.
You will always remember one of the first. I apparently I don't, but I do remember The Matrix. But I feel like being young and watching dirty humor or something that was like, whoa, you know, beyond your age. Like for me, it was. I remember Austin Powers, just because my parents told me you're not allowed to see it, and then that made
Hmm.
me think about it even more.
Yeah, it did. Uh,
I don't know what that
all
was
right,
supposed
so
to
you're
mean.
talking about you like the Marvel movies somehow.
Hmm.
So all of those have been PG-13. Have they not been appealing to you while also being accessible to younger people?
No, they have been appealing to me. Yeah, they have been.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's been no R-rated Marvel movie, and they've done way more of those.
But there's been Marvel adjacent movies that have made R-rated, like Deadpool. That's Marvel adjacent, and
Yeah, but
also
isn't that non-MCU?
yeah, but it's a Marvel property. It's not in the MCU,
Yeah,
but
I
it's a
know,
Marvel.
but like again, I hate the MCU. Like I feel like all the best Marvel stuff was outside the MCU, like Deadpool and the Amazing Spider-Man and Logan. And
Okay, so yeah, those
different
are
conversation, I know,
well,
but
we know. Well, guess what? Like I could hear an argument that someone would say that okay, inherently Star Wars was a family product, and therefore it should stay that way. Do you? Is that something that you are you on that? Would you make that argument, or is that not an argument you would make?
sorry, what?
Inherently, Star Wars is like a family product.
Star Wars is a people product.
I guess family, as I mean by like people of all ages.
Yeah.
Yeah, like inherently, it's.
Yeah, I'm not saying family pizza night, you gather around and watch Star Wars, but
Don't take it too literally.
I just think keeping it accessible to everything. And I feel like as a writer, I feel like a lot of times when and this was just brought up in the chat here, like a lot of times if the story's good, then the other stuff is just extra. And I feel like a lot of times people try and undercut a lack of strength of story by showing someone naked or throwing
Mm-hmm.
in a few extra F bombs. And I don't see a situation where Star Wars needs to go to that. I think we can do a really dark, really gritty bounty hunter movie. I guess that was always the example I would use, but now we have The Mandalorian. So we
Mm-hmm.
can do a really dark, really gritty, like someone hooked on spice and dealing with that, and they're
Mm-hmm.
still done in a way that keeps it PG-13 and doesn't remove from the grittiness of it.
Okay, so then I guess it kind of gets to the question of what makes something R-rated, and I don't know if is that really clear. Is that
I
something
mean,
that we can just say
if
for
you got a
sure?
dong shot,
Okay.
then that's usually R-rated. I believe 2 F-bombs takes it there. It's like you can get away with one. Um, Different sexual language takes it there because I know in 500 Days of Summer they use the phrase hum job because that kept it PG-13
Instead
because
of like,
made up word.
okay, we don't
Keep
have
it
to
clean
say
here,
it.
Chris. Keep
I
it
know.
clean here.
I caught myself.
Um,
I think I do a decent job on our podcast.
yeah,
I
I'm terrible in life and the podcast. Again,
okay.
I'm not opposed to R-rated media. I don't want to like come off as some kind of prude here, but
Yes, you do.
I just think Star Wars. I don't ever want a Star Wars movie that you can't justify taking a 6-year-old to.
Okay, I think that's a really fair point. Like,
Don't be nice when you're going to counter my arguments. You don't have to preface everything with,
no,
"Oh,
I
that's a
it
good point."
sounds
Now
really
here's why I hate you.
well. I have to compliment you before I just destroy you. We're gonna make a video called Chris Higgins Destroys.
Oh,
No, I don't have like I don't think I can really destroy that, but I like the idea. I think that's a strong argument, being able to take someone younger to the movie. But I do think when I've talked to other parents about, because there's a lot of violence in Star Wars, right? I
yeah.
mean, we know that there's tons of violence, but I think it is more about the questions and what they make you feel about it. You know, like it's about the emotions. Like I don't think parents want their children to be thinking about mortality and stuff like that. You know, like when a stormtrooper dies, no one wants to be questioning what like the weight of that is. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, there's no wait. They're just mindless
right,
soldiers.
exactly. And I literally when I asked someone in my former a previous job, I asked him if he was going to take me to see Rogue One. He wasn't really sure if he would take his kid, but he said like, yeah, I mean, a lot of the people that die in the movie, it's not like it's really sad. It's just like, oh, guy blew up. Like it's not a big deal, and he was wearing a white suit. But I do think
So,
it
so
can.
what you're saying is white-suited people deserve to die.
That's what Star Wars is saying. Yes.
Ugh. Well, yeah. I mean, again, I'm for my personal benefit. It could be cool to see whatever the Star Wars sex trade movie or whatever you're getting at with your completely perverse ideas over there. But I think keeping Star Wars open to the masses is far, far more important.
Yeah, and my side of it is that Star Wars has done plenty for the kids. It's still a property that's brought plenty of content for younger audiences, and to say that they would now that would be, it's not as if it would be the only this going forward. I'm just saying one movie. And okay, yeah, your children may not be able to come to the movie with you, but guess what? They've got like 3 TV shows. They've got like 10 other movies that they can enjoy. So hey, give the adults a chance to explore something a little bit darker, a little bit more violent, a little bit sexier. I'm sexier. Yeah, I said it.
I think that's enough arguing about this topic on that note.
I see. He says he's not a prude, but I bring up the word sex, and he literally loses his mind.
I just when you said sexier, my thought goes straight to old Qui-Gon just wandering around with his flowing hair and I don't know why you want me to think that way. So I think we're gonna call it there,
All
unless you
right.
have any closing argument.
No, I think that was kind of my closing thought. And honestly, I just wanted to leave our audience with very sexual image of Qui-Gon riding off into the sunset on a speeder, the hair flowing.
Qui-Gon, Qui-Gon Jinn, am I right?
We won't
All
go
right,
there.
so uh, comment, get at us in the social sphere. Let us know where you stand on whether there should be an R-rated Star Wars movie. As always, loose cannon, love Star Wars LC on all platforms: Twitch, Instagram, the Twitters. Yeah, I just want comments that I can rub in Chris's face to tell him
Tell
why
me
I'm
why
right
Chris
and
is
why
right.
he hates the rest of the world. There's a lot of action right now in the Twitch chat about how terrible you are at this, Chris. So thanks.
All
All
right.
right, so I'm gonna get a refill on water, and then we're gonna go into the topic.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Don't leave the stream, people. We're here. Ow.
So, Alex, the point you're getting at is strength of story. Anything that gets rating, cursing, violence is extra when the story is good. That's the difference between Airbud, volleyball, and Space Jam. I'm on that. I think you're with me then. Allie Harvey. It is more about just the story, and then Al is a prude. He is a prude. And guys, we can say whatever we want about Al while he's gone. This is our chance. But yeah, I think it's more about the story, and I think it's don't let the rating. Think about that later. Don't let that be the first thing. Okay, how do we contain this within our rating? I get if the target audience happens to be a certain demographic, then you're gonna have to think about that. But let the story happen and then figure out later what the ratings will be is kind of where I'm at on this. Go, yeah, young, go. So who from the Aloe fan club is present? Man, I gotta get my own fan club.
Ah.
Hi.
Guess who's back? I'm back again.
So some people in the chat said some crazy things. They said you were a prude. I told them that's not true. I said, how dare you?
Thank you. Oh, Ye Young is in the chat. Ye Young, how's that artwork you got commissioned for? How's that coming along? She's doing a Star Wars style Wes Anderson drawing.
No way.
That was turning out really good, but she hasn't finished it. It was the two kids from Moonrise Kingdom as Anakin and Padme.
I love it. That is such a cool idea.
She says, "Oh, about that."
I'm gonna pretend I didn't see that.
I saw the outline and it looked great, and then she hasn't finished. And then, yeah, you need to work on it. That's far more important than any other work you have. And
what else is there to do?
Al is a prude. Come on, don't. What?
I don't know who's putting those things out there. It's not me.
Before that, though, someone said Chris is the worst.
Yeah,
and
I did
with
see
Chris.
that.
Down with Chris.
This person may or be not tied to you.
No, definitely not. I'm Mass Fox 006. I don't know who this is.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So topic 2. Did you keep recording?
2. I did.
Yeah, let's just keep it all on one track.
Let's just keep it running. Yeah.
Um.
So here we are onto another controversial topic.
Yeah, there's also a weird thing that's been happening with my tablet where the screen has been pulsing. I think something's messed up on the screen, but it only happens when it's been on for a while. So right now it looks like the bass is pumping in your club. Whoa, we're off the topic of R-rated Star Wars, Chris. But back again with another episode of Duel of the Fates. Insert theme music here. Which I always say that and we never do. Because the theme music comes before. But anyway, I'm Alex Lowe, and I am here this week It's not a weekly podcast segment at all, but this time I'm here with producer Chris yet again to argue the intricacies of the Star Wars universe. Chris?
Hey man, I'm just happy to be back talking Star Wars and getting on a little bit of a controversial topic today, Al. I'm a little nervous. I don't know about you.
Well, I wanted to have you on this one again because you were so easy to out argue last time that I figured it'd be good to
Oh,
have you again.
did I say I was
But
nervous? I was nervous about how much I'd crush you.
ooh, so last time we talked about whether there should be any R-rated Star Wars movies, and this time we're going to talk about what could make those Star Wars movies R-rated.
Procreation.
Should Jedi be allowed to have babies?
Yes. Yes,
No,
they should.
no. Well, let me clarify. I don't think anyone should be having babies. So that's where most of my argument comes from. I'm of the opinion that, for the most part, babies really mess things up for you, and that's doubly true when you're a Jedi.
Okay, well, that is I didn't expect you to go that way. So I guess I'm gonna have to kind of shift my thinking here. I do believe people should be able to procreate in general, and I do not think that Jedi should be exempt from that.
Well, let me tell you why all my friends lie by having kids.
So yeah, I understand it's tough being a parent, no doubt, but I also like
Are we bringing Gwen Stefani into
I
this?
also like living and breathing. I like being alive. My parents, I don't know if they were, you could say, hey, my parents suck. They're the worst. They didn't do a great job raising me. But then they just lump them in with everybody else.
I really like the sound of an angsty teen being like, "My parents suck.
I
They're the
wish they
worst.
would have
They
instilled better values.
they really fell short on the things they were meant to do in their parental duties."
Have you read, like, there are articles out there of more people suing parents for them being alive. So do you not think that that's a thing that's not happened?
And these are the reasons why Jedi should not have kids, okay? Because when you have to deal with BS like that, and you're trying to be out there saving the galaxy and bringing balance to the Force and all that, and trying to take down a bunch of clone emperors sitting in a motocross stadium, how can you do that when you're worried about old Timmy at home?
Okay, so those are problems, but is that bigger than the problem of humanity not existing? Because someone's gonna have to reproduce.
Yeah, plenty of people can reproduce, just not the Jedi.
Okay, but your earlier argument was no one
Oh yeah,
should.
yeah. We've moved past that.
Okay, so now okay. So everyone else should do the job of reproducing, but not the Jedi. Got it.
Well, there's not that many Jedi.
Exactly, and that's why they should reproduce.
Nah.
I mean, we have been shown much evidence that bloodlines are very important in the Force. It's they like I'm you cannot just tell me that it was complete luck that Luke and Leia ended up being strong in the Force.
I'd like to take this moment to talk about our Lord and Savior midichlorians. Midichlorians can come about in all manner of ways. In fact, Anakin didn't even have a dad, and yet he was off the charts when it came to these levels.
And that's because he was the chosen one.
You ain't gonna get a chosen one if it's another Jedi reproducing.
Okay, so you can't use the exception as the rule. Anakin is a completely crazy example. So beyond though, like one of the most powerful Force users in the world, I think what you're trying to say is that you kind of have to hit the lottery, like when you're born. Like you could there are levels of strength in the Force that each individual could have in Star Wars, but it's pretty much it seems somewhat random. Like your child could be strong in the Force, and it's not like you were like, expecting that. You could have no idea. I think that's what we expect for the most part. Would you agree on that?
Sure.
Okay, but I think we've seen. I mean, just through this last trilogy, and even with the original trilogy, that it really does matter who your parents are when it comes to the Force. And so if we can actually allow them to reproduce, we can secure a better Force users in the future.
You're starting to sound a little I don't want to go here. I don't want to push the boundaries too far on this casual evening podcast, but sounds like a similar argument that Hitler would have used back in the day.
No, it's not anything like that at all.
Yeah, we need.
And also, I how dare you insinuate such a flamboyantly horrible accusation at me, Al. Here I am just trying to talk about why I think Jedi should have kids, and you're calling me Hitler.
Did you just say flamboyantly horrible? I didn't know we
Yeah.
were talking about your shirt. Great joke for all the podcast
Bing, bing,
listeners.
bing.
Um,
Everyone that's listening, I have an awesome shirt. Al's just jealous.
it's got many colors on it.
It does. Many
Probably
colors.
all of them.
Its midichlorian count is a lot higher than your shirt. I'll just say that.
Whoa, my shirt is a retro Seattle Supersonics shirt from 19 whatever.
A team that no longer
67.
exists. Okay.
Maybe just like the Jedi under your policy, because you want the Jedi to all have kids and then be so distracted by taking care of their kids that they run off and they get dead.
Okay, so that's an actual argument that I'm hearing now. That the Jedi will actually have to do other things beyond attending to what it means to be a Jedi, which is hard enough as it is. Then you're saying that you've got to worry about being a parent. Okay, fair enough on that argument. But the thing that comes to the crux of my argument is that naturally human beings, they want to procreate. They are attracted to other people and they want to procreate humans with them. To say otherwise is just really just going against the truth and actually going against the Jedi Code, because the Jedi Code does say that it's basically saying that you cannot be ignorant. That's part of the Jedi Code. It basically says that you have to be wise and you have to have knowledge.
It also says there is no passion. There is serenity. Do you really think someone cannot be passionate about their own offspring?
I don't know if they can or can't be, but I do think that you're going to put their passions in the wrong direction, because they're going to have passions too. Obviously, the Jedi are being told to curb those passions, but what ends up happening is people are going to eventually have a romance at some point, and they're gonna have kids. Maybe
This
is inevitable.
Gonna potentially have a romance at some point?
Some people know, but Jedi's.
Shoot.
I hate to break it to you, Al, but not everyone. But
you were giving me hope for a second there.
People desire to procreate and have children, and maybe not the children. That's not the first thing they're thinking about, but they do want to have a romantic relationship. But what they're going to have to do is hide it, and they're going to have to lie about it, and they're going to be put in a tough position, and actually creates a worse dynamic than would be if it's like, hey, we understand that this is just a natural part of life and it's not bad, but we do have to be careful about it overriding our other duties, which are really important too.
Yeah, here. First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes a baby in a baby carriage, then comes the Sith taking over because the Jedi are second guessing their moves because they're thinking about going home to take care of their kids. Pretty sure that's how the nursery rhyme goes.
Okay, so also this is also a little bit of a assumption you're making, that just because they're procreating means that they have to actually take care of the children. I'm not sure if I actually am making that argument or not, but
they're not praying mantises. I don't know if praying mantises take care of their kids. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to slander praying mantises.
So I think that if I'm going to argue that it's impossible for people to not want to have a romantic relationship and not want to, be involved with someone, then it's probably also, I can't really make the argument that they won't be passionate about their kids. So I think that's a good point, and that was brought up in the chat. So Riach is saying, so the Jedi Code is there is no emotion, there is no peace, there is no ignorance, there is knowledge, there is no passion, there is serenity, there is no chaos, there is harmony, there is no death, there is the Force. And he also said having kids, I feel like, makes that impossible. Like, not being passionate about your kids makes that impossible. Like, that's impossible. And I think the main thing that when it comes to the Jedi Code is that this is a standard that we are going towards. This is a standard that we want to have, but you may not be perfect. You may not be able to be absolutely perfect, but you're going for it. You're searching to be that. yeah, having kids, you definitely want to, you might get emotional about that. But the idea is that you are trying to have a higher standard.
Let's think about the Jedi we know that for sure had kids.
Hmm.
So you got Anakin.
Yep.
As soon as his wife gets pregnant, he goes crazy, kills a bunch of younglings, gets burned to a crisp, and becomes Darth Vader.
Sure. But did you?
Then you have Anakin having kids, and those kids grow up. And then let's call Leia a Jedi. We'll get loose with this, but super force sensitive, whatever. Leia has kids. How does that turn out? Oh, her kid kills her husband.
Hmm.
Where's the good of having kids?
Okay, but you're not thinking about the what if because we were given the current because as we know the current way of things is that they're not supposed to have kids. They're not supposed to. Well, it doesn't explicitly say that actually. It doesn't explicitly say anywhere that you can't have sex. It doesn't explicitly.
No, there were some, if we're going more of a standard episode, there was even, I'm blanking on his name now, but there was a certain Jedi that was encouraged to have a lot of kids with a lot of partners because he was of a species that was dying
Oh,
out.
wow. I actually didn't know that. That's kind of
I-
interesting.
I'll try and find that. It was somewhere in my notes.
So we have to recognize that they basically are saying you should avoid attachments. Therefore, you should not get engaged in any kind of, relationship of any kind. That is the ultimate highest standard. But in the most one of the newest Star Wars books, there's a Jedi in that book that actually does point out the fact that having a physical relationship is not necessarily the same as having an attachment, and that is true.
It was Mundy was the Jedi that had a bunch of kids.
Okay.
Coyote Mundy, because the Sarians had very low birth rates and they were all dying out, so they told him to go repopulate the Earth.
Okay.
Or
So
not Earth.
they're like, "Hey, extreme circumstances here. Go wild, man. Go for it."
Yep, basically.
Man.
A way to censor yourself there again. I'm proud of you.
I really am trying. So I think you were about to say something else.
Oh, just that I think there are plenty of people that can have children and go about these things. I don't know any friends that have had kids and not had that change their lives and their priorities in a significant way. And I think for the most part, for my friends who live in suburban Chicago, that is a positive in their life. I think for someone that is supposed to devote their life to a service greater than them, similar to a priest, it is not a positive towards that goal.
So I guess I think I think also like Rich brings up another great point in the chat where he's talking about yeah technically if you are actually striving towards something as opposed to saying that you must get the result. Isn't there a difference? Like I feel like there really is. I mean, it's saying that like, hey, you're not perfect. You're gonna make mistakes. Is there room for that in the Jedi? I feel like we haven't really seen that. I feel like that much, but I guess I will make sort of the one time where I really did see some kind of leniency was when I saw Obi-Wan get the news that Padme was pregnant with Anakin's son. Was he? I mean, he did seem disappointed, right? Like when he found
Yeah.
out.
Oh, yeah.
But was he like, this is the end of the world that you had a son? I think he would be a lot more concerned that Anakin was going to the dark side.
Sure.
So I see Obi-Wan as being one of the most. He has like the highest standard that we can actually see someone live up to in the Star Wars universe, like with their own virtue that we can see. And I think he looks at it and he's like, I think he knows. He knows for a long time that Padme and Anakin have been romantic. And how else would he be able to tell right away that it was Padme's son? That Padme's was, that was the father, that Anakin was the father. So I feel like even he is sort of recognizing that, hey, we're striving towards something. We don't always, we are not always perfect, but we do have to try. And also nurturing a child, if you're at a place where your code doesn't allow you to be there, like, and helping others that also happen to be your children, I feel like there might be something flawed with the code.
Well, I mean, sure, there's a potential that it's a flaw with the code in that, or there's a potential that it's caused to greater things and greater service than the raising of one youngling or two younglings or a heap of younglings. You're trying to take care of whole planet.
Sure. But we're basically saying with the Jedi Code is that there is no possible way for you to be objective or to have or to be reasonable and make good decisions if you have people in your life that you care about. And that is sort of messed up. You know, I think, you know, like, are we?
Why does Zuckerberg wear the same thing every day?
Because it is one less decision that he has to make.
And he can focus on the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have to make that decision about kids, it's the exact same as wearing a gray t-shirt every
Good.
day.
All right, I like the analogy. Yeah, I mean, technically, I mean, yeah, there's a lot less of a decision to make when not having children. That's for sure. But I do think that it's a worthy sacrifice.
I think it's a worthy sacrifice for non-Jedi.
Okay.
But again, I don't really think anyone should be. So kids are the worst.
Again, I guess I mean, from what it goes back to is for me is that the Jedi Code, it really does not adhere, or it really doesn't make room for human nature. We can say that these are good things to go for, but if we're gonna force it to happen, then I think you're gonna have problems because you're gonna cause people to do other things that will hide their behavior, as opposed to try to be good, because that's what Anakin had to do. What if Anakin was able to be out in the light with his relationship with Padme? Maybe he would not have sought the dark side to prevent her from being killed.
Oh, what if John Wayne Gacy was able to be out in the light with his fascination with killing young boys? Then maybe he wouldn't have had to dress up like a clown to hide it.
Okay, so someone being in a relationship is the same thing as John Wayne Gacy doing what he's doing?
Well, you know, it depends how you twist it.
I don't know. Yeah, it does depend how you twist it.
All right, well, we're nearing time on that one. So shoot us an email, shoot us a socially message about which side you're on. Should Jedi be allowed to have kids? And include details on why they should not be allowed to. That is all we ask.
Let me know why I'm right. At me, giving them to Chigs on Twitter.
Or when you have a Twitter name like that.
No, yeah, just we would love to hear your feedback. Tell us where you're at on this. Also, any ideas for future episodes?
Yeah, anything you want us to debate. This is a fun series for us. I've had debates with Nick, debates with Chris. I'll have debates with Patrick soon. I like arguing with people. That's kind of what I live for these days. So
it helps us feel a little bit of normalcy, doesn't it?
Yeah. So you guys enjoy. Follow us at Star Wars LC on basically every platform. And before we sign off, I did just see a chat message from Riach.
Can we let Rich have the last word just because he's been in the chat?
Well, he just did say he's just here to advocate for more Jar Jar Binks.
Okay.
So I think that is the proper...
That's the last word.
That is the last word. We are pro Jar Jar Binks on today's Duel of the Fates. Much love. Enjoy your life. Don't have kids.
All right. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for joining us.